Hello? It has to be lit up, not off. Okay. Hello. Hi. All right. That's a lot of you today. That's good. Okay. So let's go ahead and get through some announcements real quick. What do we have next week? Pool party. Pool party. Where's it at, Aiden? At Southland. When is it? 5:30 to 7:30 next Wednesday, okay? Don't get there at 7, get there at 5:30 or 6 or be able to use the whole time, okay? Do we have the place to ourselves pretty much? Yep, it's all to ourselves. Are we gonna have food? What type of food? We're gonna have pizza, all right. Pizza and a pool party, so you don't get much better than that in the summer. All right, you have to be picked up and leave by 7:30 because that's when we get kicked out because Andrew Flynn is a terrible manager. So we have to leave by 7:30. Okay. Dress code. There is dress code. This is a church event. Just be smart. Just be smart. Just be smart. Would that be smart? I don't know. Okay, what else? This is at Southland. Do we have a slide for fall retreat? No? Okay, fall retreat is November 8th to 10th. That's coming up. We'll start sign-ups in September. Where is it going to be at? Crossings. Who likes Crossings? Everybody. Okay, so same thing as last year. We've got Heart Song, and then we've got, as many people who can come. Is there a cap on attendance? Yeah. So sign up. When sign-ups come out, you better sign up before they're all gone. Yeah, here we go. All right. Do y'all know fall break is that soon? Wow, okay. All right, let's go ahead. Everybody go ahead and stand up. We're going to play a game. All right, give me the four-corner game, please. All right, you're going to read the questions across the middle bar, and you're going to identify if they're a correct or incorrect answer. What's this corner? What's this corner? What's that one? What's that one? They're on the walls if you forget. Okay, let's get started. This toy was the first toy advertised on TV. Barbie, Woolly Willy, Mr. Potato Head, or a Slinky. Go ahead and find your spots. All right, 5, 4, 3, 2, 5. Where are you at, Nash? All right. What is it? It's Mr. Potato Head. So this corner stays in. If you are not in the green, sit down, please, because you're a loser. All right. Benthrop? How do you say that? Benthropy? Benthropry? Is a disorder where someone thinks they are what? Greg? All right. Invisible, a cow, a genius, or contagious? What's our answer? Are all of y'all going blue? Okay, y'all are going red? Man, I hope it's blue. All right, what is it? A cow. They looked it up. Everybody else is out. Probably. I don't know if they did. All right, how many are left, Greg? There's a lot left. Let's just go ahead. Eating this fruit will attract more mosquitoes. A blueberry, apple, pear, or a banana? What do you think will attract more mosquitoes? Again, if nobody gets the correct answer, you all stay in. All right, Trent's going with an apple. Everybody else with a pear. It is a banana. So everybody stays in. All right. In France, most toilet paper sold is one ply, pink, reusable, or Charmin. All right, what do we have? Pink. Trent wins. All right, everybody else? Did you look them up? All right, go ahead and stay up here. Let's run through the rest of them. You all tell me what you think it is. All right. We've got a few left. Which of these was invented after sliced bread, a toaster, lie detector, Scotch tape, or Kleenex? What do y'all think? Huh? Scotch tape. How long did it take the creator of the Rubik's Cube to solve it after inventing it? It took him 1 month. I think it's been solved in like point some seconds now, so. Sunsets on Mars are what color? They are blue. What percent of the bones in your body are in your feet? How many percentage of your body's bones are in your feet? The answer is 25%. You got a lot of bones in your feet. Which of these is not an original Barnum animal? Cracker shape. All right, what is it? It's a giraffe. The ones everybody, you have to eat the head first. Is that it? Nope, we got another. Man, y'all all got out really quick. How many grooves are there on a standard U.S. quarter? I got 119 down here. It's 119. Who knows their coins? That all? That's it? Okay, I need 2 volunteers. 2 volunteers. I need a guy and a girl. TR, pick for me, please. Right here. All right, Malachi and Kaylee. Is that right? Because I got one wrong the other week and nobody corrected me. Kaylee and Malachi. All right, Kaylee and Malachi, this is how it works. You're going to go one at a time, and you're going to remember as many items as possible. All right, we'll do the first one as a test. All right, first one we'll do as a test. Let's look at it real quick. You got 12 seconds to memorize as many items as possible. Ferrari, shorts, sunflower, sun. Okay, memorize as many as you can. All right, got them locked in. Okay, this is a practice. So somebody, y'all tell me what was on there. Okay, all right, tell me what was on there.
Seashells, shorts, chair, flip-flops, a pool, Ferrari, umbrella. Did I?
Okay, good practice. All right, that'll work. I need a pen. All right, ladies first, as usual. You got 12 seconds. Memorize as many as you can. Memorize them. 3, 2, 1. Okay. Take the microphone. Tell me what you saw.
Ice cream, cotton candy, watermelon, strawberries, lemonade, tea, milkshake, kebab, tomato, burger, corn, hot dog. Already said that. Smoothie.
You had 11 out of the 12 items. All you missed was lemonade. No, she didn't say lemonade. You might have. She said milkshake. All right, Malachi, you're up. Remember them. Take a photo. Remember it in your mind. Okay, Malachi.
Trampoline, soccer ball, golf clubs, baseball, the goggles, the water ski, the beach ball, tennis racket, jet ski. I said trampoline. I said golf club. Y'all messing me up. See.
Okay, that's 9 out of 12. You missed bike, cornhole, and frisbee. All right. 2 more? Perfect. All right. So, okay, hold on. 1 second. Stop it. 1 second. I got to keep up. I'll forget. I don't want to write on the piano. All right. We're good. Let's go. Memorize them.
The Liberty Bell, the American, the Declaration of Independence, fireworks, George Washington, Uncle Sam, Lady Liberty, popsicle, fireworks, eagle. I already said that. States, the United States, Mount Rushmore.
Okay, you missed a piece of pie and the fire truck. So that is 10 out of 12. You skipped one. You going back to it? All right, Malachi. You're up. You got to come back here. Memorize them.
Fishing rod, flashlight, tent, fishing rod, the RV. I said Jesus. The backpack, the water bottle, s'more, that's all I can remember.
Okay, that's 6 out of 12. You missed the hat, the water bottle, the picnic bench, the bonfire, and the sunscreen. You said water bottle, and Brody said water bottle. He did not. So that's 6. Are there any more? No? All right, well, congratulations. You win. So Trent and Kaylee, come to the back and get a prize real quick before you come up there. Everybody else, go ahead and stand up. Make your way to the front for the band for me, please.
Christ is my firm foundation, the rock on which I stand when everything around me is shaking. I've never been more glad that I put my faith in Jesus, 'cause He's never let me down. He's faithful through generations. So why would He fail now? He won't. He won't. I've got joy in chaos. I've got peace that makes no sense. So I won't be going under. I'm not held by my own strength, 'cause I built my life on Jesus. He's never let me down. He's faithful in every season. So why would He fail now? He won't. He won't. He won't fail. He won't fail. Christ is my firm foundation, the rock on which I stand when everything around me is shaking. I've never been more glad that I put my faith in Jesus, 'cause He's never let me down. He's faithful through generations. As the Spirit was moving over the water, Spirit, come move over us. Come rest on us. Come rest on us. As the Spirit was moving over the water, Spirit, come move over us. Come rest on us. Come rest on us. Oh, come, Spirit, when you move, you make my heart pound. When you fill the room, you're here and I know you are moving. I'm here and I know you will fill me. Come down, Spirit, when you move, you make my heart pound. When you fill the room, you're here and I know you are moving. I'm here and I know you will fill me. As the Spirit was moving over the water, Spirit, come move over us. Come rest on us. Come rest on us. As the Spirit was moving over the water, Spirit, come move over us. Come rest on us. Come rest on us. Fire and wind, come and do it again. Open up the gates, let heaven on in. Come rest on us. Come rest on us. Fire and wind, come and do it again. Open up the gates, let heaven on in. Come rest on us. Come rest on us. Oh, come down, Spirit, when you move, you make my heart pound. When you fill the room, you're here and I know you are moving. I'm here and I know you will fill me. Come down, Spirit, when you move, you make my heart pound. When you fill the room, you're here and I know you are moving. I'm here and I know you will fill me. Holy Spirit, come rest on us. You're all we want. You're all we want. Holy Spirit, come rest on us. You're all we want. You're all we want. Holy Spirit, come rest on us. You're all we want. You're all we want. Holy Spirit, come rest on us. You're all we want. You're all we want. Come down, Spirit, when you move, you make my heart pound. When you fill the room, you're here and I know you are moving. I'm here and I know you will fill me. Come down, Spirit, when you move, you make my heart pound. When you fill the room, you're here and I know you are moving. I'm here and I know you will fill me. Sing this with me. Come down, Spirit, when you move, you make my heart pound. When you fill the room, you're here and I know you are moving. I'm here and I know you will fill me. Come down, Spirit, when you move, you make my heart pound. When you fill the room, you're here and I know you are moving. I'm here and I know you will fill me. Pray with me, everybody. Dear Heavenly Father, you are a God who deserves to be worshiped and praised. You remind us constantly in your word that you are worthy of it all, in the morning and in the evening and every time in between. So help us to recenter, help us to refocus, help us to learn how to love more like you today. Lord, I pray that you give Jason a mighty word and you anoint his lips to speak your gospel and to speak your good word. Remind us that it is all about you. It's in your precious and holy, holy, holy name we pray. Amen.
What's up? How's everybody doing? Good. I'm glad you're here. My name is Jason, if I haven't met you yet, and we are excited that you are here. One more time, just remember next Wednesday, I know Clint already talked about this, but we will not be here next Wednesday. Everything else is still going on here, so if you have a younger sibling who is in the children's program, then obviously their stuff will still be going on here. That's why we had it a little earlier. It ends a little late so that you can be dropped off here at the pool, and then they can drop off your younger sibling and then still make it for everything. So 5:30 to 7:30 next week. I think he talked on what to wear, but just don't be gross. Wear things that cover you. And we don't want to see cheeks and all that. So just be normal. And we'll have a good time. All right. So if you were here last week, we started a series called Fighting Fair. And we're just talking about conflict and how to deal with that within a relationship. When we think about the word conflict, there's lots of words. There's the strife, altercation, fight, competition, disharmony, clash, dissent, confrontation, hostility, animosity, war. In the English language, there are over 100 synonyms for how to say conflict. Dispute, contention, combat, struggle, opposition, disagreement, animosity, and then there's the old-timey ones, fisticuffs, a scuffle, a fracas, a feud, a tumult, rumble, skirmish, clash, dust up, brouhaha, all kinds of words. They all mean kind of the same thing, some kind of conflict, right? And just the fact that we have so many words to describe this same type of thing just shows how significant this is in our world. For our society, for all societies, because obviously this is just the English dictionary, the English words, so other languages have countless words as well. And so depending on what you're experiencing at any given time, there are days I know when it seems like conflict is inescapable. So we started this series and we talked about conflict and how to resolve healthy, respectful ways, right? We talked about how God can repair broken relationships with him, and then we can repair broken relationships with others. And we learned specifically last week about how Jesus' death and his resurrection should give us peace, because the opposite of conflict is peace, right? And so we should strive for that peace, and that requires effort and work. And we looked at how we have to take responsibility last week for our share of the conflict that exists in a relationship. So my hope is that you've maybe had the opportunity to take some steps toward maybe some reconciliation or peace in some of the relationships that might be strained or broken. But today I want to talk about what do we do when the conflict that we experience specifically is not our fault? Or even more specifically, what should we do when it is someone else's fault? It's not just something that happened, it's someone caused this in our life. And what if that person that we're having this conflict with is also a follower of Christ? Because typically, when we think about, it's easy to kind of figure out how to navigate a relationship or a conflict when that person doesn't believe because in Jesus and they don't follow the same kind of belief system, because then it's like, okay, well, then they need to know Jesus, and that'll kind of help make things better. But what if they know Jesus? They know what's right and wrong, and they're still causing this conflict. So we're going to look in the Bible. If you don't have one, there's a bunch up here in this tote. Matthew chapter 18 is where we're going to be. So I want to look at one. This is kind of one of the few times that Jesus actually lays out step by step, because we're always looking in the Bible, well, I don't know how to do this, I don't know how to navigate this, but this one is literally step by step of what to do. We don't do it very often because we're stupid, but this is what God tells us how to do this. So Jesus lays us step by step out, kind of how to handle conflict when it's between two believers, or two people who are both believers, right? So Matthew chapter 18, we're starting in verse 15, okay? Matthew chapter 18, starting in verse 15. Now, if you have a Bible that has the different colors, this is in the red print. What's that mean? Yeah, this is Jesus specifically speaking. So, chapter 18, starting in verse 15. It says, if another believer, so again, another believer, if another believer sins against you, go privately and point out that offense. If the other person listens and confesses it, then you have won that person back. But if you are unsuccessful, take one or two others with you and go back again, so that everything that you say may be confirmed by those 2 or 3 witnesses. If the person still refuses to listen, take your case to the church. Then, if he or she won't accept the church's decision, treat that person as a pagan or a corrupt tax collector. Crazy. So, those first 3 words that I kind of pointed out are very crucial that we understand these verses, right? He's specifically talking about how we should respond when we find ourselves in conflict with another believer. So most of you in this room, to my knowledge, have professed faith in Jesus. I know there's some in here who haven't, but most of you have. And so I know that some of you also have arguments with each other. You're friends and you still have arguments, right? So how do we navigate that as believers? Conflict with another believer. So again, to be clear, there are going to be some principles that will apply to all relationships, whether they're believers or not. But if we're going to let the Bible speak to us, we need to understand the audience for which this was intended. And so with that in mind, let's just look at these steps that Jesus lays out here. The first one, step 1, what is it? What do you say to do first? Go privately. Go to that person privately. This is the very first step. Now, again, remember last week we talked about how with some conflict, the other person sometimes they don't realize what they've done, right? There's something that they said, something they did, and it may have really been an accident, and they just didn't realize what they did or what they said, and that they hurt you. So that going to that person privately gives them the opportunity, first of all, to realize what they've done or said and how they've offended you, and it gives them the opportunity to apologize and maybe even change their behavior so that they learn, oh, okay, I can't talk like that, or I can't act like that. That's going to be offensive or hurt somebody. It's awkward. It is awkward, and it sometimes feels like you're whining or you're causing issues. But if there's something that has offended you, then you need to talk to that person. Now, you also have to be respectful when you approach them. But if they're willing to hear you out, then the end result should be peace and reconciliation, kind of like we talked about last week. But if that does not work, there's the next step. What was the next step? Take a couple people and go try again, right? And now the goal here is to recognize that just going back and forth and arguing with that person is not going to solve anything, right? But if you bring a couple other people with you, and I suggest bringing people who can be objective. What does objective mean? Unbiased, yeah. To be objective is somebody that's not going to be like, well, I'm going to tell them because I love you and you're my best friend and I'm going to tell you what I think. And that's somebody who's not objective. You need somebody who can think clearly and see both sides. Okay, so bring people with you that are like that. And not somebody that's automatically going to be on your side, but somebody you trust. And so that they will be respectful and listen to both sides. And then the added benefit of bringing a couple people is that they may be able to help you also see their perspective, the other person's perspective, right? Somebody from the outside can they can much more easily pinpoint, issues from the outside. They have a different perspective. When you're in the middle of it, it's hard to see anything beyond what is affecting you. So hopefully this second conversation will cause the other person to realize, again, that they've offended you, apologize, and change their behavior. But if that doesn't work, there's a third option. This one is one that we don't do very often. And this one can be a little confusing. You see, back in the time of the New Testament when this was written, the local synagogue, the local church, kind of functioned almost like a lower court, like the court system. So if something small happened, like your neighbor's kid kicked a soccer ball through your window, right? And so you take your case to the local synagogue, where they would decide who was right and who was wrong. So this is called church discipline sometimes, that's the language. Not a lot of churches really do it because we're a bunch of snowflakes in the world and we don't want to be offended. But it's also sometimes it's been taken too far and people, get their feelings hurt and all that. So we have to do it biblically and correctly. So this is what you would typically do. So it's not like standing up in the middle of the church on a Sunday morning and saying so-and-so hurt my feelings. It's not about a presentation like that. That's not what this is all about. It's just taking this to some trusted leaders within the church, right? To your pastor, myself, or one of the other pastors on staff, or your small group leader, different people within the church that they can gather the right people around and figure out what to do and what's the next step. And so, it could be your small group leader, myself, pastor, something like that. And the goal is not that these people are not the judge and jury. It's just someone to help make sure that conversation is civil and that each side is heard and that that's a healthy conversation. And hopefully this third conversation will cause the other person, if the other two haven't, that will cause them to finally realize that they've offended you, to apologize, and then change their behavior. And then the last and final step, Jesus says, is to just move on, but keep your distance. He says that if the other person still refuses to listen, he said treat that person like a pagan or a corrupt tax collector. That basically means that from that point forward, you're better off if you just kind of keep your distance from that person for a while. At this point, you kind of have a decision to make. Are you going to let it go and move on? Or are you going to kind of harbor resentment in your heart? That's really entirely up to you. But speaking from my own experience, nothing good comes from hanging on to that resentment, that anger when someone has offended you. Moving on is not easy. It is not at all. But that's also why Jesus makes a point to say that if you bring others with you so that they can kind of help you through that. So if things don't work out, they can be kind of a source of encouragement when you are feeling defeated or angry or whatever the case might be. So those are the basic steps in Scripture of what he tells us to do. But there's some more stuff we need to pull from this passage, some key ideas that I want to make sure that we don't miss. And the first one is this, that God's heart is still about reconciliation, not revenge. God really does not want us to seek revenge. He wants us to reconcile. Again, what's reconcile mean? Huh? What? Forgive, yeah, to bring back together, to equal it out, to make it okay, to make peace. So this process that Jesus laid out may ultimately lead you to deciding that you need to keep some distance from that person for a while, but that's not the goal of all of this, right? The motivation behind each step is to see that relationship restored and hopefully become even stronger, because a lot of times if you have ever been through something with somebody that you care about and you've made it through the other side and you've reconciled, you realize that relationship is stronger. So you can withstand more and you can help each other out more. Now, if you notice, Jesus did not mention punishment. He did not mention revenge in any of these verses, right? He never says to make them pay for what they've done. And he doesn't encourage us to take certain actions so that they feel the consequences of anything like that. Everything he says points toward a specific goal, and the goal is for that relationship to be mended and restored. And so that's the first thing. That's the first goal. The second thing that jumps out, I think, in this passage is that, and this is a tough one in church, but that gossip does not have a place in the process. Jesus specifically says, go to them how? Privately, right? Go to them privately. When someone sins against you and you have trouble and you can't let it go, it's best to go straight to them and have a conversation with just them. And again, this is let's first of all differentiate the difference between conflict and abuse. This is specifically about conflict. If you're ever in a situation where there's feelings of being unsafe, you do not have to confront that person on your own. That's not what we're talking about. And I think I talked about that last week. There's a lot that you can do to help resolve conflict on your own, but when it includes any type of threat of harm, that you should always bring in a trusted adult and talk to someone that will be there for you. So this is not about abuse. So we're talking about conflict. And so when we think about a situation where someone has offended you or hurt you, talking about it with a bunch of other people before you go to that person who offended you, which is our natural response. Did you hear? Can you believe what they said to me? Let me tell you what. You get all fired up and you want to tell everybody because you want to rally the troops, right? And this is really easy to do online, right? Because you can rally all kinds of people online. But that's not biblical. If you're doing that as a believer, then you're living in sin. That is not what we are called to do. It feels good to have a group of people just saying, yes, you're right. That feels good. But it is very short-lived, and it will only lead to destruction. So if you have been hurt by someone, it is your responsibility to keep your mouth shut, not run it and tell that to the rest of the world. Even if you can justify it by saying, well, I just need support. I just needed to get it off my chest. No, you needed to go to that person. That's what God tells us to do. So you need to go to that individual. And even if the conflict goes to the next step where you have to loop in a couple people, the goal is still it's not so that you can gather people on your side. The goal is still for those people to help you resolve the conflict. Again, it's not to rally the troops. It's just to resolve the conflict. So gossip has no place in this process. The third thing, everyone involved is still on the same team. Even if someone does something to offend you, especially a believer, it doesn't mean that they're a bad person, because I guarantee you have done something to offend someone in your lifetime as well. It doesn't make you a bad person. And it doesn't mean that they're a bad Christian. We make mistakes, right? It might just be as simple as that they see the situation differently than you. And in some cases, that's okay. Jesus never actually said that we all have to agree on everything, but he does say in John, you don't have to turn there, it'll be on the screen, but John chapter 13, verses 34 and 35 says, I'm giving you a new commandment. This is one that we talk about a lot, right? To love each other. Just as I have loved you, you should love each other. Your love for one another will prove to the world that you are my disciples. Again, we don't always have to agree. We won't always agree. But we are commanded, not just asked or encouraged, but we are commanded to love each other. And one of the best ways to remember that is to just realize that we're on the same team. Everyone here is trying to figure out what exactly it means for them to trust and follow Jesus. What does that look like for us, right? And again, we're all not all at the same point in that journey. We're all learning at different paces and different levels, and that's okay. So some of us might have been in this location for a while, and others might just be kind of coming up on that. But that doesn't really matter. What matters is that we're all trying to accomplish the same thing, live our life for Jesus. And even when we disagree, we're still better together, right, than we would be apart. So those are some things that we pulled out of this passage that are true. But how do we live this? I know it's so much easier to talk about this and say it, but how do we live it? First of all, there's the 4 steps that Jesus gave us. Those are practical. But aside from those, what should you do if you suddenly find yourself in conflict with a fellow believer? Well, the first thing is that you should be ready to forgive, which is very difficult. Be ready to forgive. When we confront someone who has offended us, our goal should not be to make them feel bad or to just want to make sure that they knew that they hurt us, but our goal should be for our hearts to align with Jesus' heart. This means that we should see the conversation as an opportunity to seek reconciliation and to seek peace. But it's impossible to find that if we're first not willing to forgive whoever or whatever they have done. And as you consider whether or not you want to kind of approach them and confront them about this issue, it's important to resist, which is so hard. It's important to resist the idea or the desire to win. Right? You don't approach the conversation with just, I'm going to win, I'm going to be right. The goal is reconciliation. The goal is not to shame them or to seek revenge. Again, it's not easy. So you might have to take a little time to calm yourself down, think through what this is all about, and think through the realities of forgiving them, especially when it comes to just little things, the minor offenses. I would argue that if you're not ready to forgive that person, then you're probably not ready to confront them. Confronting them before you're ready to forgive them is like just picking a fight. It is not going to lead to peace. So make sure that you are ready to forgive. The second thing is choose your words carefully. This one's difficult too. Jesus' process that he laid out here for confronting other believers who have wronged you is helpful, but that doesn't mean that it's easy. Doesn't mean that it's simple. even if we follow this step-by-step plan, there are plenty of ways that it can go wrong, right? Even with the best intentions in the world, confronting someone who has wronged you or offended you can be maybe can come across or be interpreted as an attack by you, and that's why it's so important that we have to choose our words and our tones very carefully. I would maybe suggest taking a minute and just writing it down to yourself. Write down exactly what you want to say. Think it through so that it makes sense and that you are not, saying something that in turn could also be offensive to them. And as you plan your words, remember, again, that God's heart is all about peace and reconciliation. And the words that you use will either help you move closer to that or further from that. So I would encourage you maybe to spend some time praying, asking God whether what these words that you've written down are the right ones, or if not, then maybe how you should change those. In the book of Psalms, David gives an example of what this kind of prayer might look like. Again, this will be on the screen. It's in Psalm chapter 19, verse 14. It says, "May the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be pleasing to you, O Lord, my rock and my redeemer." So you can pray that, God, please let whatever comes out of my mouth, whatever that I say to this individual, let that be pleasing to you, first of all, and let it be something that leads to reconciliation. And then once you figure out what you want to say, and you've got to figure out how you want to say it, it comes to that how you approach people. And that's the third thing, is to be direct, but also be kind. Be direct, but kind. This is probably, for me at least, one of the most difficult types, or difficult steps, and the difficult part of this conversation. Because on the one hand, you want to be very clear about what the other person's words and actions or whatever how they've affected you, but you shouldn't want to escalate the situation or the conflict unnecessarily, right? That's why you need to try to find this balance between being direct and being kind. There are ways that you can still be kind, even though you're confronting the other person about something that they did to hurt you. First is to get straight to the point, right? Telling them that you need to have a conversation that's going to be difficult, but be sure to tell them that your goal for that whole conversation is to just make everything okay, put it behind you. That kind of helps set the tone. They know what to expect and what's coming. Don't yell, and that may be difficult for some people. Even if you're still angry about what they did or what they said, yelling is just going to amp up the anger, and it's gonna make everything much more tense. It's gonna make them defensive, and when we get defensive, we tend to stop listening, right? When you're confronting someone, it's always a good idea for you to speak at the same tone and the same volume that you hope that they will respond to you. So don't yell, and then give them a chance to respond. It can't all be just what you say. Assuming that you've made it this far in the conversation, show them kindness by allowing them to respond to whatever. Maybe to ask questions. How did I say that? Or how did it come across? Or how did this come up? How did this come up in the conversation? Or how did I act in a way that offended you? Whatever they need to ask you. And again, there's that possibility they may not even have known what they did or how they upset you. So if they need to think through it a few minutes, that's okay. Let them do that. The reality is confrontation is not easy. It can be awkward and uncomfortable and sometimes scary, but it is necessary if we want to build and maintain healthy relationships. Thankfully, this blueprint he gives us in Matthew chapter 18 gives us a great place to start and kind of a path toward that. And so you're thinking, okay, well, why do we need to talk about this? Why do we need to spend so much time on conflict? The reality is, for you guys, conflict is different. It can manifest differently than it did when I was even your age. Everything has shifted in culture, especially toward electronics and things like that. So the face-to-face conversations are just not as normal and common in your world, and I understand that. But these types of situations, these types of seeking peace and confrontations need to be face-to-face conversations. If someone has offended you, even if it was online, even if it was just a passing thing that they did on social media, our first response was to get on there and respond on that way. But our proper path to reconciliation would be to somehow get that person. And if you're not in the same city, I get that. I mean, it might be that you're not in the same place that you can physically get together. Then maybe you need to have it could be a phone call conversation, I guess. But you need to have an actual conversation with your voice with that human. And I would venture to say in this room, there are some of you who need to have this conversation. A lot of this might not be because, across the chairs here. Some of it might be. I've seen some of you argue and spend weeks not talking to each other. And this would be helpful for that. But this might be a situation where you're having a problem with a parent or your guardian, and you're struggling with how to navigate that. Maybe they have offended you. Maybe they've hurt your feelings. Maybe it's another family member. This does not just. This is not only true for people who are your age. This is true for all ages of believers. So if your parent has offended you or hurt you in some way, or even if it's not you directly and they've done something that is in turn somehow hurt you, you can talk to them. Confronting your parents is not about, Mom, Dad, you did something wrong, we're going to sit down and talk about this. No, that's not respectful. You got to go back to how you do it and how you say it. But you can say, listen, this choice that you made in your life has impacted me and it's hurt me. And we need to talk about this. And again, it goes the same way. If they're not willing to discuss it one-on-one with you, then the next step would be to bring in a couple people and talk to them about that way. It's probably more scary to do this with someone that's older, with a parent or guardian or something like that. But it is still necessary. Just because someone is older does not mean that they can't make mistakes and cause someone to be hurt or say something wrong and offend somebody or something like that. We're all human. We all make mistakes. So I want to encourage you in this room, because the reality is we need to live our lives following Jesus. And any kind of conflict in our life pulls us away from him. It builds walls between us and Jesus, and it distracts us from what he's calling us to do. And he's called us to make all these right, to bring peace in our life. And so that is what we're supposed to do, and that's what I encourage you to do. So whoever in your life that you have some type of conflict with, I hope and pray that maybe in the next week or two that you can begin to make peace in that. And as always, I'm here for you. Your small group leaders are all here for you. That's what we that's what we do. That's what we want to be. We want to be available for you guys, and just help you to be an ear if you need an ear. If you need somebody to come in and sit with you while you talk through something with somebody, that's what we'd be happy to do. And then again, of course, as I said, if it's ever a situation where it's moved past just conflict to abuse, please let us know, and we will help you through that and take care of whatever needs to be taken care of. So I just want to encourage you, again, just like we did last week. The musicians are going to come. We're going to sing. We're going to worship one more time. And this altar is going to be open, but I'm going to have everybody come forward and just worship together. And if you want to pray, you can pray standing. You can kneel at the altar. You can do whatever that God is leading you to do. But I want you to think through your relationships. If you're in here and you never had conflict with anybody, then you're in a good place. Then maybe you can just be praying for others who are in conflict. But if you're in conflict with someone, that person, somebody who's hurt you, then you need to be praying how you can begin this process of reconciliation. So now's the time to do that. God, we love you. I thank you for this day. I thank you for these students and these leaders. I thank you for just giving us an actual step-by-step guide of how to deal with whatever's going on in our lives, Lord, and how to mend relationships and make things better and stronger and bring peace where it needs to be, God. And I just pray that you help us to identify those areas of our lives where we're just angry, and someone has hurt us and we've just been holding on to this anger thinking it'll go away. Help us to understand how to approach them, because again, chances are they may not even know that they've hurt us, God. So I pray that you please help us to either let it go or seek reconciliation and to know how to begin that conversation with them, God. And I pray for healing hearts for both sides of that situation, God. I pray for those students that are in here that are just trying to get through. I pray that you would just help them to feel your presence, Lord. I pray for the leaders, anything that they might be dealing with as well, Lord. I pray that you give them the courage and the wisdom to know what the next steps might be, God. We love you, we praise you, and we ask these things in your Son's name. Amen.
desperate for you, desperate for you. I surrender. Drench my soul, His mercy and grace unfold. I hunger and thirst. I hunger and thirst. With arms stretched wide, I know You hear my cry. Speak to me now. Speak to me now. I surrender. I surrender. I want to know You more. I want to know You more. I surrender. I surrender.